Hi guys, in this video I will show you how to secure user passwords before storing them into database. So first of all let me open the database which is MongoDB Compass. So in the last video I have created a database with this name called MyApp users, right? Inside this we have a collection called users, and inside this users we have stored all the user details. As you can see here, we are storing the user details with plain text which are entered by user while registering. So this is not a good way to store the user details, because if our database is hacked, hacker can simply able to log in with these details, because we are only storing the passwords which are entered by user. But here we have to replace this with a random string by using a package called bcrypt. So let's use that and store and secure the user's password. So first of all, to use bcrypt package, first we have to install that in our server folder which is inside this. So let's go to this folder from command prompt. So let me go to my app folder and then server folder. So inside the server folder I'm going to install the package which is bcrypt. So just wait, it will install. So as you can see, our bcrypt is successfully installed inside the server folder. So let's run our backend by using node server.js, because this is server.js and which is our root folder as you can see here. So now let's run our front end. So our front end is already running on this port number as you can see 5173. I'm just opening it in our browser. So from this registration form, after user enters the details and click on this register button, it will call. Let me show that register component. So after submitting the form, we are calling this handle submit function. Inside this handle submit function, we are calling a backend API endpoint which is this forward slash registration check. Let me show that inside our server folder here. So here it is. After user submits on the, after clicks on this register button, it will go to this endpoint. So inside this endpoint, we are storing all the user details which are entered from here, and in the backend we are storing those details inside this new user variable. As you can see, username, email, password. Here as you can see, username, email, password. So before storing the user details, here we have to use bcrypt. Since we have already installed it, we can simply import in our server.js file, which is bcrypt from bcrypt. So now we can able to use bcrypt inside our server folder. So I'm going to use a function called salt gensalt. So by using this function, we will get a random string which is used to hash the user password with this random string. So I'm going to store this inside a variable called salt. So now this salt variable is storing a random string which is generated by this gensalt function. So after that, we are going to call another function hash, which takes the input as a first parameter which is the user entered password, and then this salt. So this hash function will take these two parameters and generates and adds an additional characters for this salt to store the user password. Now let me store this in a variable called hash password. So inside this bcrypt.gensalt, the first parameter is a rounds. Let me write that again. So gensalt, and then here as you can see, the first parameter is rounds. So we have to give a number inside this. So even if you don't give any number here, it will automatically take 10 as a rounds. So 10 means it will take 2 power 10 times, which is 1024 times. So this gensalt function will iterate for 1024 times and returns a random string. So we can use that string inside this hash function and can generate and can generate a random string and store that inside our database. So here we have to update this password with hashed password. So now let's delete these two documents from here and then register again. So now we don't have any documents inside our database. So I'm going to use my name and then my email, which is samantenquiries@gmail.com. So I'm typing my password as 12346. Let me change the type so that you can able to see my password. Let's change the type from password to text. So now as you can see, we have entered the password as 12346. So after clicking on this register button, getting internal server error. Okay guys, so since this function will take some time to return a random string, we have to avoid this as well as this, because this will take some time to give a random string, because it have to iterate for 1024 times, so it will take some milliseconds, so we have to avoid that. So now if I click on register again, you can see it is redirecting us to the OTP verification page. So I'm going to check the OTP in my from my mobile. So I have received an OTP. I'm going to enter that here, 3930. So after clicking on verify, as you can see, it is redirecting us to home page. So if you see the database, as you can see, our password is hashed with some random string instead of what we have entered. So I have entered 12346 in password field in registration form, right? But that password is not coming here. So now even if our database is hacked, hacker cannot be able to log in with this password, because this is not the original password, right? So that is the use of this bcrypt module. So now click on logout. So if I try to log in, password is 12346, right? If I click on login, it will throw an error like invalid email or password, because let me go to login check root. Here it is, because after user submits on this login button, it will go inside this endpoint, which is forward slash login check. So here we are checking the, so this find password variable is checking the password, which is this. Since we are entering this password 12346, but here this password is referencing this password, which is this, it will throw an error like invalid email or password, because the password we have entered 12346 is not equal to this password, right? Which is this. So here we have to clear this, and inside we have to use bcrypt, and then we have another function called compare. So this compare function is used to check the user entered password with the hashed password, which is this. So here the first parameter will be a password which is entered by user. So whatever user enters in the password field from this login page, that value will be stored inside this password field. So I have to give that, and then we have to give find mail dot password, because this find mail is referencing our document, which is this. So inside this we have this password field. That's why I'm giving it find mail dot password. So now let's check whether it is working or not. So let me enter my email, and then let's enter a wrong password, which is 12345. So if I click on login, it will go inside this endpoint, and it will check this password, which is this. with this findmail dot password, which is this hasher password which is stored in our database. Since this 12345 is wrong password, it will throw an error. If I click on login, you can see it is throwing invalid email or password because this unique password is not equal with this plain text password which is 12345, because this hasher password is only match if our plain text password is 12346, because this hashed password is generated while we are entering 12346 in the registration form, right? So that's why we are getting the error like this. So if I enter 12346, we can see it is redirecting us to home page, because this bcrypt.compare will return true if we enter 12346, because this hashed password will matches with that password which is 12346. So that's why we are getting redirected to home page. So now we have another problem, guys. So let me show what is the problem. So let's suppose I have forgotten my password. I want to use this forgot password option. So I can simply use my email. So I want to enter a new password with this text called patience. So if I click on this reset password option, you can see we are getting this password changed successfully message. So now the password is patience, right? So if I try to login with that password called patience, if I click on login, you can see we are getting invalid email or password. And even if you see the database, you can see you are getting a plain text password. You have to hash this password, right? So for that, so when user types something in this new password field from this forgot password page, those value, let me open the forgot password component. So here, after user submits, enters their details and clicks on this reset password button, it will call this handle submit function, and inside this we are calling an API endpoint which is this forward slash forgot password. And let me check that here, as you can see, we have forward slash forgot password root. So here, whatever whoever enters in this new password field, that value will be stored inside this new password variable. So we have to hash this. So for that, let me use a variable salt, and inside this I have to await this because it will take some time to return a random string. Here gen salt, and then use another variable called hash the password. Let's await this, and then use bcrypt dot hash function for the new password. So this new password is the password we are entering from the forward password page with this salt. So I have to update the password field with this hash password. So now let me check whether if I log in. So if I try to log in with this password patience, we are getting invalid email or password. Let me use forgot password option. So I want to give the again with old password which is patient. So if I click on this reset password option, now the password is changed successfully. As well as if you refresh the database, the value of this password field will change it from patience to some random string, as you can see. Now if I try to log in with my email and then my password which is patience, let me enter that. If I click on login, as you can see, we are redirecting to home page. So I think, I hope you will understand this. Thanks for watching, guys.